is time for me to read you 6 plus 4, so 10 stories of glitch in a matrix stories from Reddit. And these stories are written by real people who had apparently had experiences experiencing a glitch in a matrix, whether things that broke and recame together, or a plane that have disappeared and reappeared, and even a glitch that apparently have saved someone's life. So we're gonna get into that at the end, so enjoy. I'm gonna be whispering, by the way. It's kind of a change, so let's start with number 1. So number 1 is Toast Bite, and it's written by the Reddit user tDarkBeats. So there's how it goes. This morning, I was driving my daughter to school. She often eats toast on the journey in the car if she doesn't have the time to eat before we leave. I toasted the bread this morning, buttered it, put it on a plate, and gave it to her as we left our home. In the car, I saw her take a bite out of the toast, and I could see that she was eating it as we were talking about while driving. Around 15 to 20 seconds after the first bite, she went to take a second bite, and the toast had no bite marks. None of the bread was missing. She showed me this, and I could see the toast was exactly as it was when I made it before we left. Even more interesting, she swallowed half of the toast, but the other half was in her mouth, and she opened her mouth to show me. We were both puzzled and surprised by this experience. We both saw her take a bite. She still had toast in her mouth when we spotted that there was no missing bread or bite marks in the toast. We examined the toasted bread and could not see any bite marks or missing bread at all. The only explanation that I have is my daughter decided to play a little prank on me, but she seemed very surprised and shocked by it. She either pulled a great prank on me or we both experienced a glitch in the matrix. Oh. So, what do you think of this story? What I think is that maybe she has played a prank, maybe, because it would be very impossible to take a bite and not appear that a bite has been taken, but maybe it's just a glitch in Matrix, who knows? Or maybe a bread just somehow reconstructed itself out of nowhere, yeah. So now let's move on to the second story. This one is very short, okay? And this is number 2, and it's called 20 Bucks. This post was written by a Reddit user that has been deleted. And here's how it goes. $20 bill came out of nowhere into my wallet. I went to the gas station and gave the clerk my only $20 bill left in my wallet, and I pumped the gas and left. Went to work, and when I finished work, suddenly I see a $20 bill in my wallet, and it came out of nowhere, like it popped out of nowhere. The only bill in my wallet previously, before pumping the gas, was just 20 bucks. Apparently, this user has posted a picture of this $20 bill, and there is a link to the actual post in the description. Oh, by the way, all of the Reddit posts that I'm reading, I put all of the sources in the description so you could all see it, their post, okay? So that is a very short one. Now let's move on to reading the third story. Number three. Girl respawns on the bus. This one is written by the Reddit user u/AdmirableFlow. So a while ago, I was riding a city bus. I was sitting in the middle, facing the back side. A girl with headphones in her 20s appears from behind me and places herself in the standing area in front of me. She doesn't sit anywhere, which was weird because the bus was almost empty, and she was loaded with shopping bags and a backpack. She spent there around 15 minutes while talking consistently on her phone. Then I clearly see her landing back to the back door, getting off the bus, and walking away. I think to myself, maybe it's finally some quiet. So another 10 minutes and a couple of bus stops pass by, and suddenly, bam, bam, like a deja vu of the same girl with the bags and the headphones appears from behind me. Back again and takes the same spot. She was standing the previous 15 minutes while still talking on the phone and continuing the ride. It was just like when you die in a video game. It respawns you back to the last checkpoint. Anyway, my stop came shortly after that, so I didn't have the time to reflect on the situation more thoroughly. No idea how or why she had made that stunt. Is this really a coincidence? Or maybe it's just a glitch in the Matrix? Alright, this is kind of a bit... It's very, very, very strange. So before we continue on on reading through these stories, I'm gonna give you a good 2 minutes of just tingles. This is gonna be the first out of 3 tingle breaks, and I'm just gonna use a straw for the first one, so enjoy. Alright. So the first break is over. Now it's time for me to read the next stories. Now let's continue on with number 4. This is the 4th story. And the story is called The Universe was Rectified. Its Mistake Within Minutes. It's a question. It's actually a question. And this is written by the Reddit user u/mydogisagrizzlybear. And so, here's how it goes. The universe rectified its mistake within minutes. I haven't really had any weird experiences like this before, and I wanted to shrug it off. But my partner is a huge skeptic and usually comes up with some explanation for everything. This has stumped him. So I was serving dinner tonight. Soup. And I was getting ready for a ladle soup into our bowls. I noticed that we had 4 of these particular bowls in the cupboard. This was extremely strange and confused me immediately because we bought this particular set of 4 bowls at Target many years ago. There are only 2 of us in our house, so we would never buy 6. Anyway, around 2 years ago, we broke one of those, which bumped me out because I hate having odd numbers of dishes. So we have had 3 of them the whole time. I am 100% certain of this. I actually stopped when I opened the cupboard because I was like, WTF. And I said to my husband, we only have 3 of these ramen bowls, right? Only 3 ramen bowls. And he said yes, because we broke one a long time ago. And so I pulled him out and showed him all 4. And he was like questioning himself. Question mark. I shrugged it off. I grabbed 2 of these bowls and 2 big plates for garlic bread. As I'm getting the plates out, one crashes hard into the counter and somehow doesn't break. We both breathe a sigh of relief and head to our table and start eating. Halfway through the meal, my husband, who is not a clumsy person, suddenly drops the ramen bowl onto the big plate, and both shatter immediately. We looked at each other in shock. So now we are back to 3 ramen bowls again and the broken plate, which I had almost shattered moments before. It just feels like the universe heard me and corrected its mistake. I don't know, man. It was weird and I felt weird. So that story kind of feels a little weird, a little strange how something breaks and then apparently it becomes intact and then it broke again. That's how he explains, or them, how they explain that the bowl, that this universe redid the action or something. So now, let's go on to the 5th one. This one is called Object Disappeared and Just Reappeared 4 years later. I have no explanation for this. That's the whole title. And it's written by the Reddit user LearnStalkBeInformed. So here how this goes. I don't know how this can happen, but hear me out. 4 years ago, I lost a video game cartridge. I was playing it one day, gone the next. Turned the house upside down and never found it. Now the only people living in my house are myself and my partner. We have no kids and no pets, and the house is very tidy and organized. I'm kind of a freak about it, and after a couple of months, I accepted the game is just gone. So over the past 4 years, furniture has been moved and every part of the house has obviously been cleaned multiple times. We have a TV cabinet with a small cupboard on each side. The left end is totally empty and always has been because I've just had nothing to put in it. But when I'm cleaning, I often open it to dust inside. I have done this at least once a month. More likely every couple of weeks for 4 years. The cupboard has remained empty. 2 days ago, I opened it up to dust, and the game cartridge was sitting smack bang in the center of the shelf. There is absolutely no way, like how my partner was just as shocked and confused, and I know for sure it wasn't him who put it there, and no one else has been in our house. It seems like a mundane and dumb glitch, but I cannot explain it. So we are halfway into this story. Reading to these stories, I mean. So, what do you think of this last story? Comment down below. How did you think about the game cartridge completely disappearing and reappearing 4 years ago? For me, I think that maybe it cannot really be explained other than a chance, a possibility that her partner, whatever the Reddit user's partner, has been maybe secretly playing a prank against the poster. Maybe that's my theory. At this point, you should be very, very sleepy right now, and hopefully your sleep credit card is getting paid for slowly. Now we're going to go to the 6th story. So here is the 6th story, and it's called I Saw a House That Doesn't Exist. It is written by the Reddit user u/trouble_kid. Every day I was walking my dog and I passed a different house. I found it strange at first, but nothing that caught my attention. The house was old. I could see inside that there was a seamstress working. The car parked in the garage was also old. She had a very sweet dog who came to greet my dog, woof woof, at the gate. The lady saw me, smiled, and greeted me. Today, when I went for my walk with my dog again, I couldn't wait to pass the house again and see a nice lady and her good boy. That's when the unexpected happened. Instead of a house, there was a completely different one. What happened? Where did it go? I still do not understand. So that was the 6th story. Before we go on to the 7th one, I'm gonna do a smaller Tingle break. This one is gonna be around a minute and a half long, and it's gonna be a $5 bill rubbing and tapping So enjoy. You can actually see through it. You can't really see my face in that video, but I can kind of see it with the glass. The translucent part is very hard. It's kind of hard to see through. I could see the light. You could too. Okay, so let's continue on with the 7th story. And at this point, you are reading one of the extra stories that you would not hear if you were to listen to the old recording that apparently had the bad audio. So now there's gonna be more stories. So here is the 7th one. So water just appeared from nothing on our vanity. And this one, that's the title. And this one is written by the Reddit user u/TheWetNapkin. Okay, so here we go. My partner has a vanity in her bedroom, and this morning she goes to use it and finds that there is water pooled on the top covering, almost half of the surface area. My first thought was if one of her products spilled, but this was enough for any of the containers for it to empty, and there was no odor, just smelled like water. It was kind of an off-white color, and it wasn't clean like tap water or something, so I thought maybe there was a leak in the ceiling above it. I looked up. Nope. The ceiling looked fine. The carpet was also fine. Wasn't wet at all. Nowhere in the room there was water like this, just on top of the vanity. The carpet was completely dry, even though with this much water, I feel like some would have dripped down. We considered so many different things. We just have no idea from where they came from. Nothing leaked. No pipes were burst. It wasn't dripping on the ground like I feel like it would have been some flow to it from being poured on the surface. Nothing. It seems to have just appeared from thin air. So that was kind of another strange glitch of the matrix of some water just appearing out of nowhere, where the source cannot be traced out. At this point, you should be falling asleep at this point. But if you're still not asleep, there's gonna be 3 more stories. And let's go with the 8th one. And this one is called Weird Mirror Experienced. It's by the Reddit user u/juicygargoyle or something. while I was getting ready for work, and I'm just curious if anyone else had something similar happen. I was in my morning routine, listened to an audiobook, drinking coffee, and sitting up to do my makeup. I had already washed and prepped my face, so I was ready to get started. As soon as I looked into the mirror, my heart stopped for a second. I saw myself looking back at me. However, I was old. I'm currently in my 30s, but in that moment, I'd say I'd look to be 60-ish years old. My eyelids were more hooded, droopy, and I had wrinkles on my forehead and around my mouth/eyes. I blinked and nothing changed. I still looked old AF. Insert swear word there. I stared at myself in disbelief for at least 10 seconds. It wasn't until I turned away from the mirror and I looked back into it and that my face was finally my 30-year-old face. It was so strange. One reason being I had just washed my face and did my skincare in a mirror in my bathroom. My face looked completely normal then. Another reason, it had lasted long enough for me to really look at, examine myself, so I don't think that my eyes were playing tricks on me. What in the actual crap happened? Glitch or the Matrix or what? Truly a weird experience. Maybe one day, when I'm old, I'll look into the mirror and see my younger self looking back at me. Alright, that was kind of another experience from that user. I might think about this, that maybe, my thoughts about this, maybe that there is an illusion that happens, that your face would look different if you stare at your face for too long. That's what I've heard. Maybe they are experiencing that. That's just my thought. Here's your third and final tingle break. This one will be just cubes. It's going to be 3 minutes long. Wooden cubes. These are 1 centimeter in length and approximate. break. Tingle break. We're gonna move on to the 9th story. This one is going to be the longest one in this video. And the 9th story is called Customer Missing from Surveillance Footage. Okay. And it's written by the Reddit user Aspissim. Hopefully I pronounced that well. So here's the deal. I work as a salesperson in a, in quotes, tabac press, a French shop that sells newspapers, magazines, snacks, and some electronics. Most of the time I'm selling cylinders, but also snacks, multimedia stuff, and magazine newspapers. It's basically a smoke shop. I'm mostly alone in the shop, starting in the early afternoon when my boss finishes. So we overlap for about 30 minutes to an hour, depending on the day. The story happened last Monday. There are these 2 middle schoolers I'm starting to know pretty well, who hang around in the shop for an hour or less. They're mostly drawn by the fact that I sometimes offer them things like sandwiches that are going to be thrown out that day, so they tend to rummage through every item to check the expiration date, which makes them a bit of a pain. That day, they started touching the headphones, asking me things like, how much are these 6 headphones? And other childish stuff like that. While they were loitering, some customers came in. There must have 3 of them. So a small queue formed. A queue was aligned, by the way. While the customer in front of me was paying, I noticed the customer behind him, picking up a box of headphones. It was a tall black man, around 50 years old, dressed almost entirely in black, with a graying goatee and dreadlocks. His facial expression was quite stern. Once he got to the till, he asked me for a Marlboro, no headphones. I suspected him of theft, so I glanced at the headphone display and saw that the headphones were back in place. I rang him up and he left, and shortly after, the middle schoolers left. However, I still had a doubt, so I checked the headphones, and there were 5. But I remembered one of the middle schoolers talking about 6 headphones. I made a note on my phone, possible headphone theft at 3 p.m. The next day, at the time I start work, I asked my boss if it was possible to check the security camera footage because I suspected a theft. She fast forwarded quite quickly so you could really see any precise movements, but we could still make out the different customers entering and leaving. She found out the beginning and end of the middle schoolers hanging out and started looking for the customer who matched my physical description. Meanwhile, I was at the till, dealing with customers. Once a first wave of customers had paid, I went to the back, and my boss told me I didn't find the customer you're talking about. There's only this one who is also black, but he's much younger and dressed in white. Indeed, it wasn't him. She then said, but actually, it was a theft. It was one of your middle schoolers. The ones that I had been so nice to was the culprit. But when I think about it now, the fact that the customer I was talking about simply wasn't there was strange. Okay, I'm gonna repeat the sentence. But when I think about it now, the fact that the customer I was talking about simply wasn't there is strange. She gave me the controls to review the theft precisely, and also took the opportunity to watch before and after to find a guy with the dreadlocks, but nothing at all. I could have confused a moment with another. Maybe that customer was never present at the same time as the middle schoolers, yet I clearly remember having thought about asking the middle schoolers if they had seen him steal the headphones. Okay, this was the longest one, and I'm not too sure what I could think about it. This story, the poster was asking, what do you think? Okay, so maybe I think that the customer that they were describing was basically there to point out the theft. That glitch helped. That glitch was there. That customer being there was a glitch for them to look at the cameras and find who stole the headphones. Maybe the universe is trying to give hints and save the store. Okay. Alright, so now we are into the last story, number 10. And this one apparently saved the Reddit poster's life. Okay. So, something told me to slam on the brakes at an unactivated railway crossing. Likely saved my life. This Reddit poster's name is u/Ca-cosen. It happened several years ago. I was driving down a rollback road with my brother, driving at around 90 kilometers per hour. It's a road I've traveled millions of times. At this one section, there is a railway crossing with lights, bells, and gates. It's a crossing with very poor visibility, hence the lights and gates at a rural crossing. Okay. On this particular day, I'm driving my old diesel pickup. A loud old box music playing and having a convo with my brother. Coming up to the crossing, out of nowhere, mid-conversation, I just interrupt and blurt out, "Hey, I wonder if we'd able to be stopped before the crossing if I just hammered the brakes right now," and without a second thought, I just do it. The truck screeches to a stop several meters from the tracks, right as a train screams by. The crossing never activated. No lights, no bell, no gate. I've been stopped at this particular crossing in the past. Crossing is supposed to activate well in advance and trains do freeway speeds through the area. We looked at each other, wide-eyed in both of our jaws, basically sitting on the floor. My brother goes, "Holy crap, dude. WTF made you stop?" Neither of us heard or saw anything. To this day, we still don't know what prompted me to spontaneously spit out the these words and jam the brakes, but I'm certain we'd be both not alive or severely injured had I kept going. That one is pretty intense, and I am not sure what I could process what I've been reading, okay? Oh my goodness, this story, what I think, is basically an example of listen to your gut, always listen to the gut. You never know, the guts might save you, or your life, or something. So, I'm gonna go back to sleep. Hopefully these 10 stories are going to help you sleep, ease off your sleep debt, and pay off your sleep credit card. If you have slept, the next time you wake up and see this video, gently press the like button, but don't smash it, or else it's going to break and it's going to ruin the ASMR vibe. And if you happen to stay awake and not sleep, maybe these stories kind of interested you, so comment down below which stories you find the most strange and mysterious out of the 10. And so I am going to go now, and I'll see you next time.